welcome back to Mr. Smith's YouTube channel. I hope everybody had a really great fall break, but at this point, guys, it's time for us to move on, and we're going to do our summative. All right, so we did orthographic drawings where you learn to create title blocks, look at an object, and draw the top, front, and side view. Then we took that knowledge to then help us actually look at orthographic drawings to then create an isometric 3D model using Google SketchUp for schools. So we've done 4 different SketchUp models. The first 3 you had a lot of assistance because I created tutorial videos. The 4th one you were kind of left to your own, and many of y'all did really well. The mistakes were minimal. It was issues with the protractor and maybe some of the measurements being off, but other than that, everything was looking really good. The modeling techniques are there. The use of SketchUp is there. So it's time for us to move into our summative. So I didn't want to overcomplicate this because my focus is whether or not you can read a drawing and recreate it with precision and accuracy on Google SketchUp. All right, so let's jump right into exactly what I want you to do. All right, so for this week, we're doing October 11th through October 15th. You are going to have just one assignment, and it's your summative. All right, so at the top here, I have all missing SketchUp assignments should be submitted by Friday, October 15th to receive late work credit. Guys, it's, we're at the point of having our second summative, and we're going to move on into some, not necessarily new content, but different content. So I need you to submit all of your missing work. All right. So your learning target, I'm learning to use dimensioned orthographic drawing to develop an isometric 3D model in Google SketchUp. I am learning to use precision in the engineering design process. All right, and the way you're going to do this is by completing your summative. All right, so your summative is going to be to take this orthographic. All right, so this one's laid out a little different, but you do have the front, side, and top view. You also have an underneath underneath bottom view that gives you a little more information. And then I've given you 2 different isometric views. All right, and you will see that I've given you an exemplar. This should say 4x2, I'll change that. Give you an exemplar of what mine looks like. All right, so it's not hard. You've got a cube, you've got a cut, you've got some cylinders, some additional cuts. So because this is not hard, I'm gonna be grading very hard on these dimensions to make sure they're right. All right, so for instance, the grading requirements. Correct template used. Make sure you're using decimal inches. All right, you're gonna lose 10 points right away if I see centimeters or millimeters. I want you to use inches because I should be able to 3D print this using my 3D printer, and it should print out in inches. All right, use the correct techniques. All right, so, let's say you're missing a surface or something. You're going to lose 3 points every time. So that's 40 total points of this. Let's say one of your circles is messed up, -3. Let's say one of your bottom cuts is messed up, -3. All right, I'm not going to take off 3 for each bottom cut, but each time a technique should have been there, you're going to lose 3 points. All right, accurate dimensions. Again, you need to have your dimensions. I don't have mine on the exemplar because I wanted y'all to be able to see the whole thing, but your dimensions need to be present and they need to be accurate. So if on here it says that the diameter of the circle is 4.8, then on here it should say 4.8. All right, so every time you're missing a dimension or it's not correct, that's another -3. And of course, to put your name on it at the end is 10 points also. All right, so pretty straightforward. You're gonna have 2 class periods. 8A, y'all have the PSAT on Wednesday, so y'all might get another one next week. But for the most part, guys, you've got this week. So when you're done, you're gonna submit it here. And yeah, that's the extent of your summative, all right? So quickly, I do just kind of wanna help you guys start. All right, I'm not going to do very much, but I'll just help you get started. So of course, as always, navigate to Google SketchUp. So I'm going to open that up in a new link. All right. Then I'm a student, continue, and launch. So I'm going to wait for this to load, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to move my camera down here. All right. So once you're in Google SketchUp, you're gonna do this little drop down, all right? And last time I modeled, I used centimeters, but remember on the rubric, on the grading requirements, inches. Inches is what you need this time. So make sure you select decimal inches. We can go ahead and get rid of our lady, and then we wanna save. All right, I know some people are having issues with saving. If that's the case, just make sure you're taking screenshots throughout. So that way you don't lose anything. So I'm gonna call this YouTube 4x2 Lego. All right, so got mine saved. So again, guys, what I'm looking for is precision. So just take it step by step and double check your measurements every time. So you're gonna come up here. I see that the overall shape of this thing is gonna be a rectangular prism, all right? And right here, I can see that it's 15.8. All right, so I'm actually gonna right click on the image and open it in a new tab. That way I have it a little bigger. All right, so 15.8 by 31.8. 15.8 by 31.8. So I'm just gonna grab my rectangle tool here and I'm gonna type 15.8 comma 31.8. All right. Remember, I want you to do, I know these are big numbers, but I want you to do this in inches. Because when we export it into our slicing software, it needs to be in inches. So it's gonna work out. All right, so now I've got the base here for my Lego. So the way that you make sure your dimensions are correct every time is grab your dimension tool every time you do something. All right, so I know that that's 31.8 and that's 15.8. All right, so I can go back and check 15.8, 31.8. All right, so now I have these circles, right? So I'm gonna do those after I pull this thing up. So how tall is it? Well, it looks like it's 9.6 plus 1, so 9.6 for the bottom. All right, and then our circles on top are 1.8. So I need to come up 9.6. So I'm gonna do the push-pull tool. Pull it up, 9.6. Again, dimension tool. All right, so let me move my camera. Maybe just right here, all right. Dimension tool's right here. Dimension that, 9.6. All right, so I'm just double checking. I've got my 15.8, my 9.6. All right, looking good. Now I come over here and I can go ahead and do my circles on top. All right, but they need to be spaced correctly. So they're eight in between each other. How far from the edge are they? Well, we gotta find that measurement. Okay, so right there, 3.9. 3.9 this way. And yep, 3.9 in. Oh, it looks like they're 3.9 and 3.9. All right, so you're gonna take your tape measure tool, come down, right? Tape measure tool is how we draw guides for ourselves. 3.9, enter, all right? And then I can just draw a line across. Come this way, 3.9, and then a line across. So now, and then this side in, 3.9. All right, so at this point, I've started to map out where my circles are gonna go. So I'm gonna go grab my circle tool. All right, so my circle is 4.8 diameter, 4.8 diameter, so it should be 2.4 radius. So I'm gonna start drawing the circle and type 2.4, enter. All right, circle, 2.4, enter. All right, so I wanna double check that this is correct. And in between these two should be 8, in between. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab that dimension tool. Dimension tool. and check the distance between them, and it is 8. So I know that these are correctly on top here. All right, so I drew the first two. So your next step would be to take your tape measure tool, and again, there's 8 between them. So between every circle is 8. All right, so I'm just drawing guides using the tape measure tool that are 8. I'm pressing 8 enter every time. So that's gonna let me put these circles where they need to go. All right, so I'm just, all right, so there we go. So want to make sure I dimension, right? Dimension tool. Go ahead and dimension one of my circles maybe. So 4.8 diameter, that's what I wanted. So yeah. So guys, I've gotten you started on this. All right, you need to take care of the top, you know, do some extrusion. You're gonna do a cut on the bottom, then you're gonna do some more extrusions and cuts. All right, but this is your summative. I got you started just to kind of get your brain going in the right mindset of how to approach this, but it's up to you. So again, keep in mind that grading is gonna be based off precision and accuracy. All right, so make sure you're using decimal inches. Make sure you have the correct techniques. All right, so extruding, the surfaces look correct, etc. And then dimensions, all right? So make sure the dimensions are on there and everything is accurate. It must match. 15.8 by 31.8, mine says 31.8 by 15.8. 9.6 high, yep, 9.6 high. All right, 4.8 on the diameter, 8 in between them. Let me check these, 8 in between these, 8 in between these. All right, let's check 8 over here. All right, so everything is dimensioned correctly and accurately so far. All right, so that's it for me, guys. As always, message me on It's Learning or through email if you have any questions. Make sure you save so you don't lose it. And when you go to submit it, just take a screenshot using the snipping tool. All right, so just snipping tool looks like this. You're gonna click new and make sure you grab all the dimensions because I am going to be grading based off the dimensions this time. All right, so other than that, y'all have a great week. Let me know if you need any help, and I will see you next time.